Hello and welcome to a demonstration of the equity accumulator. Today we're going to go over a presentation that is designed to give you an understanding of the basic concepts of how the equity accumulator works and how it will benefit you. To start with, we're going to walk you through a 30-year fixed mortgage, help you to see how that mortgage is structured. We're going to be using a $200,000 mortgage with a 6% 30-year fixed rate, and the monthly payment is $11.99. What we want you to understand here is that the interest on a 30-year mortgage is paid mostly in the beginning years of the loan. In other words, as you can see here, on a 30-year mortgage in month one, $1,000 is going to interest and less than $200 is going to the principal. As you move forward on this loan, you'll see that the principal starts to move up a little bit, the interest starts to go down. But the bottom line is we want you to understand is that in a 30-year fixed mortgage, the vast majority of your monthly payment is going to the interest. If we get to year one, you notice it gets a little bit lower here. Year five, again, now we're up to $267 is going to the principal, $931 is going to interest. And this is the point that, if I sit with clients and I ask them at what point do you think the majority of your money or, a much larger amount of your money is going to principal, most of them will tell me in year five. And as you can see, that's not the case. Year 10 gets a little better. And this is what I find amazing. If you look at this, this is a 30-year mortgage. We're in the 21st year now of a 30-year mortgage, and we're only halfway done. In other words, you borrowed $200,000, and after 21 years, you're only halfway done paying the loan off. If you continue to pay on this mortgage for the full 30 years, which is 360 payments, you will pay to the bank a total of $431,000. That's $231,000 in interest, or 116% of the original amount you borrowed. In other words, you borrowed $200,000. But after 30 years, you've paid back to the bank $231,000 in interest, which is 116% of the original amount borrowed. This next example here is just designed to help you to understand how impactful making prepayments to the mortgage can be. In other words, in this case here, we're going to show you where in the very first payment of the loan, we're going to come in here and we're going to make an additional $5,000 principal payment. In other words, the borrower just happens to have $5,000 sitting around, and they're going to go ahead and send that $5,000 as a principal payment only to the mortgage company as their very first payment. So their very first payment is going to include the original principal and interest payment plus an additional $5,000. Now, so what is that going to do for us? How much does that save us? Well, obviously, the $5,000 you gave them is going to reduce the loan amount by $5,000. The interest rate and the payment are going to stay the same because this is a fixed rate loan. But now, instead of paying the original 360 months on this loan, you're down to 337 months. And if you look here, instead of paying the original $231,000 in interest to the lender, you're only going to pay them $203,000 in interest, which gives you a gross savings of $28,000. In other words, you sent the lender $5,000, you just saved $28,000. Now, just in case you want to net out the $5,000 you gave to the lender, you're still going to have a net savings, a total savings of $23,000. So in this particular case, you sent $5,000, you saved $23,000. So let's see the components of the program. In other words, what makes it work? What do I need and how do I make this work? First off, you need installment or revolving debt. In other words, you have to have some sort of debt you're paying off. It doesn't have to be only a mortgage. It can be a mortgage, credit cards, car loans, student loans, whatever it is, as long as you have some type of debt you're going to pay off. You need a home equity line of credit. This is an open-ended loan. An open-ended loan is, in other words, the bank will allow you to make multiple deposits each month and adjust the principal balance each time you make a deposit. An open-ended loan is very similar to a credit card. In other words, you can deposit money into the line, you pay it down, and then you can draw the money back out. And you can do that as many times as you want per month, and the bank will adjust the interest each time you do that. And then you need the equity accumulator software, which is where we come in and we'll provide you with the software. What makes it work? In other words, what's the functionality? How do we use this home equity line of credit and why do we need it? Well, first off, the home equity line of credit is going to become your primary checking account. You're going to deposit as much of your income as you can into the home equity line of credit, and you're going to pay all your bills out of the home equity line of credit. Let's go through here. We're going to walk you through an example family, just an example so you can kind of see how this program works and how it might work for you moving forward. This particular family has $5,000 a monthly income. They have $4,000 a month in expenses. In other words, that includes their mortgage, their car, their entertainment, everything they do for the month costs them $4,000. So they have $1,000 a month in discretionary income. We're going to start off here on this slide here, and what you're seeing here is we're walking right into the home equity line of credit. And in this particular, we're right here in month one. This particular client happens to have a balance of $3,500 on that line of credit. The $3,500 could have come, maybe the bank charged them some closing costs or line of credit. Maybe they paid off a credit card up front, something like that. Bottom line is they're starting off with a small balance of $3,500. First thing you're going to do is you're going to add your expenses. In other words, you need to pay the $4,000 in expenses for the month. That takes your balance to $7,500. And then here comes your income. Now you deposit your income, so that immediately reduces the balance to $2,500. When you do that, instead of paying interest on the $7,500, you're going to pay interest for the month on $2,500. So your interest cost for the month, $20.83. Moving on to month 2, we're going to carry over the $2,500. So we're now going to have add our $4,000 in expenses, which is going to take our balance to $6,500. Again, we deposit our income. That reduces the balance down to $1,500. And then here in month 2, our cost, in other words, our finance charge to the bank for the month, $12.50. Carrying on here to month 3, we start off, bring the balance forward to $1,500. We deposit but we withdraw our $4,000 we need to pay all of our expenses. So that takes our balance up to $5,500. Again, we're going to deposit our income. When we do that, it's going to reduce the balance down to $500. But here you go. This is where the software comes in. Now, the software has been analyzing your inflows and outflows that we've been moving through the first 3 months. It's now seen that we've paid the balance down to $500, and it's going to recommend that you make a lump sum payment, and this lump sum payment is going to direct you where to send it. So if you have credit cards or mortgage, it's going to tell you where to send it. In this case, we're making the assumption that all the lump sum payments are going to a mortgage. When we send that lump sum payment into the bank, that's going to decrease our balance on the line of credit up to $4,175. And this month, here you go again, for the month 3 of the loan, we're going to pay $34.80 to the bank. Again, that's our finance charges for the use of the line of credit. So let's see, in the first 3 months of using this product so far, we've had total finance charges to the bank $68.13. We spent $68.13 so far for the use of the line. But what has that done for us, okay? Well, so far, because we just sent that $3,600 lump sum payment to the bank, we just canceled $17,000 in interest charges on the mortgage. We just knocked off 18 months off the terminal loan. So the next thing that happens here, and this is very important, is that each time you send in that extra principal payment, that lump sum payment to the mortgage holder, is you're manipulating the amortization schedule. In other words, if you look here at month 3, you look there at the blue circle, you're down to 339 months. Now, this is month 3, so you should have been at 357 months left on the loan. You're down to 339. Next thing you're going to see is in month 3, you normally would have only had $201 going to the principal as part of your traditional monthly payment. But again, you've manipulated this amortization schedule, and so now an additional $19.38 is going to the principal each time you make a payment. Your balance is down to $195. These lump sum payments, let's talk about these for a second. The lump sum payments are the payments that the software, the Equity Accumulator software, is going to direct you to make, and usually that's going to happen about every 2 to 6 months. It just depends on your inflows and outflows and your discretionary income. But it will help you to do that, and it will tell you exactly when to make those payments, how often to make them, and what dollar amount to send. So let's move on here. Keep going here. We're going down to month 4 now, and as you can see here in month 4, again, your balance started off with the $41.75. You took out your expenses, took the balance to $81.75, deposited your income, so now the balance is down to $31.75. Your finance charge for month 4, $26.46. Going to month 5 again, we're down to $21.75 now on the balance. We're going to pay the bank $18.13 for the use of the money. And month 6, you notice we've paid the line down. We've got it all the way down to $11.75. And again, here comes the software. It is now determined that you need to make another lump sum payment. You've paid the line down, and in this case, you notice that the lump sum payment is only $2,900 versus the $3,600 that the first lump sum payment was, and that's because your balance is a little higher. The balance is at $11.75. The software is never going to ask you to borrow too much money from the line of credit. If we borrow too much money from the line of credit, then our interest charge is going to be too high. So in this case now, our balance is up to $4,096. Our finance charge for the month is $34.13. So now by sending this $2,900, once again, we've canceled another $12,000 off the cost of the loan. Okay, we've knocked $12,000 off the future interest cost of that mortgage. We've knocked another 16 months off the terminal loan. So if you look at it here, for the first 6 months of the loan, for the cost of the line of credit, we spent $146 for the use of the line of credit. We've already canceled $29,000 in interest, and we've knocked an additional 31 months off the term of the loan. Now, let's not forget, this is a very important part. Each time you do this, again, you're going to manipulate the amortization schedule. So again, now we're 6 months into the loan. We've got the remaining payments left on the loan all the way down to 323. Once again, we're going to have another principal jump, okay? Within the first 6 months after we made the previous lump sum, we would have only had $222 going to principal. Now we've jumped it up again. Now we got a total of $238 a month going to principal each time we make our traditional monthly payment. The balance is all the way down to $192,000 now, just after 6 months of using the product. We're going to jump all the way to month 12 now, and as you see here in month 12, we paid the line all the way down to $1,003. And once again, here comes the equity accumulator. It's determined once again, okay, we paid the line back down. It's time to make one more lump sum payment. So this will be 3 lump sum payments within the first 12 months of using the product. Balance is up to $39.21 now. We're going to pay the bank the $32.68 we owe them for the use of the money, for the use of the line of credit. We're going to cancel once again another $10,000 in interest, and we're going to knock another 14 months off the term. So for the first 12 months of using the product, we spent a total of $297 for the use of the line of credit. That's the finance charge we had for the line of credit we have to pay to the bank. Look at this. We've canceled $50,000 in interest, and we've knocked 53 months off the term of the loan. We look at the amortization schedule now. We're all the way down. We only have 295 remaining payments left on the loan. And look at the principal jump. We're all the way up to $275 of our traditional monthly payment. That monthly payment we're going to still continue to make each month, but now $275 is going to the principal. Balance now all the way down to $184,000. So let's look at this, and let's go back to the original amortization schedule and see where we're at. If you look there at year 1, we would have only, if we were paying our normal monthly payment, we would have only had $210 going to the principal each month. That now is all the way up to $275. So now we've increased that. So as we're making our traditional monthly payment, more and more of it's going to principal, and that's pretty significant. You think about it, we went from $210 where it would have been if we were following the payment schedule the bank wanted us to follow, and we jumped that all the way up to $275. Side-by-side comparison of the equity accumulator program and the conventional program. Just looking at where we're at now. We're 1 year into this. The balance on the equity accumulator is down to $184,000. The balance on the conventional loan, it would have taken us 5 years to get to the $184,000. At the 1 year mark, we would have still owed $197,000 on this mortgage. The equity accumulator, we're on path to pay this loan off in 10.4 years, only pay back to the bank $70,000 in interest versus 30 years and $231,000 in interest. So our total savings, in other words, the interest savings that we're on path to save here, is $167,000. Now, if you've been to one of our seminars or you're speaking to one of our agents that might have provided you this information, the $167,000, that's what we call a wealth transfer or an unintentional wealth transfer. This is money that you're transferring, wealth of yours, you're transferring to the lender. So if we can show you how to recapture some of that $167,000 and build that back into your retirement plan, we believe that it will benefit you greatly. So let's look at the money path, and let's just kind of look and see the mechanics of this product and what makes it work. What habits are you going to have to change? Well, first off, again, we said we're going to turn your HELOC, that home equity line of credit, into your primary checking account. So how are you going to do that? Well, you're going to deposit your income, as you see here, into your checking account, and as your income goes into the checking account, you're going to move it over into your home equity line of credit. From the home equity line of credit, you're going to pay your bills. Now, what determines a lump sum? How do we know when it's time to make that lump sum payment? Well, as you'll see here, again, we're going to start off, we have the checking account, the home equity line of credit. But you see these lines right here? This is where the program is working. It's going to be working between these two lines here. In other words, if the balance gets up here and it starts to hit this line up here, then it's going to wait. In other words, right there is where it wants to be after we've made a lump sum payment. If you get down to the bottom line is where it's going to be asking you to make a lump sum payment. So in other words, if we get above this line, then we're borrowing too much money and it's going to cost us too much interest to use it. If we get below this line down here, then the balance is getting too low and we're not having as large of an impact on the debt as we should have. So what's going to happen is each month as income comes in, you're going to move it over to the line of credit. That's going to help pay the line of credit down. As you notice here, it didn't get paid down quite enough. It didn't get down to that level where it's time to make a funds transfer. So you have some more income come in, push the income over to the line of credit, and now you see now we're down to that optimal lump sum level. Okay, so now the program is going to come up and say, oh, time to make that lump sum payment. It's going to direct you to do that. It's going to tell you exactly how much to pay and to which debt you should send it to. In this case here, you notice we have a few debts listed. And in this particular case, it's going to come down, it's going to pick out the motorcycle and say, you should send the money to the motorcycle. Now the program will always give you a suggested, what we call a debt roll down. The program, when you enter in your different liabilities into the software, it will put them in an order that it feels optimal for you paying them off. Now, just for those of you who do not have a home equity line of credit, if you want to use the product using a savings account or a savings line, you can do that. Now, I will tell you, it's not as optimal as using a home equity line of credit. It will not work as well, but it will work. So if you're really serious about getting rid of your debt and paying down your mortgage or other debts, if you have some discipline, you can use this with a savings line. What you're going to see here is a very similar process. Is you're going to put your money into your checking account. You're going to move that over into your savings line or your savings account. And then you're going to pay your bills when they come due. Of course, the bills will come out of the checking account because you can't pay them from the savings line. And then the same thing, how does it know when you need lump sum payments? Well, you're depositing that money from your checking account. Okay, you have a high reserve line. What the reserve line is how much money do you need to keep in your checking account at all times. And then you're going to move money over into your savings line. Now, the good thing about moving it into the savings account, if you move it over in there and let it sit there, it's going to start to accumulate interest. Hopefully, the savings account you have has a greater rate of return as far as the interest the bank's paying you than your checking account. Same thing, you keep depositing the money into your checking account, moving that over into the savings account, and as that money builds up, and what's happening is you're going to deposit your money into the savings account and leave it there until you have to pay your bills. When you need to pay your bills, you're going to pay them. But the money that's left over, your discretionary income that's left over, is going to start to build up in that savings account. And once it builds up to a particular level, as you see here, is when the program is going to have you make that lump sum payment. Once again, the program is going to direct you which debt to pay off and in what order to pay them off. And so you can see, using a home equity line of credit will work more efficiently, and the reason is because the home equity line of credit, you can leverage it. You can borrow from the home equity line of credit and use your income to cancel out the most of the interest charges, which is what we demonstrated previously. But if you're really serious and you have some discipline and you want to get rid of them, this product will work here, and it will help you just using a checking account and a savings account. That concludes our demonstration here. I hope this has helped you to better understand and get a more thorough view of how the equity accumulator works. If you have any questions, please just go back to the client or individual who provides you with this video and this information and ask any questions you might have of them. They should be able to demonstrate and help you with a free analysis of your particular situation and help you to see how the equity accumulator will work for you. Thank you very much.